Hello everyone, welcome on into ClayShareCon 2024, and we're in the afternoon of day 3. We've already hit the halfway point, and it's kind of sad. I get a little upset, but then I think we have so much more ahead of us. We have all the rest of today and all of tomorrow, and right now we have Paula McCoy joining us from Colors for Earth, and she's going to show you how to do this really great Grapevine Heart Floral design. And if you don't know about Colors for Earth, you need to check them out. She has these color concentrates, which I use. Here's some of my test plates. Look at this gorgeous plate where I used her colors on. They're just so juicy and bright, but they're translucent, which I absolutely love. So I know she's got some really great tips for you all. If you want to do a 2-color brushstroke technique, well, she's going to do that for you right now. So let's go over to Paula and see how she's doing this afternoon. Hey, Paula, how's it going down there in Texas?
Good afternoon. It's warm.
It's warm. You're staying warm.
Yeah. So, everybody knows I had technical difficulty, so my background has changed. You get to see my mess, so I apologize for that.
Just the real studio.
It's the what do they call that? Just the plain version of me. So yeah, we're gonna do the Grapevine Heart today, fast mode, because I always overdo it. So if you guys are ready, we'll switch cameras and get to it.
We are ready.
Okay, so here is the piece. This piece was actually done on just an earthenware tile. For today's demo, I have a piece of Mako stoneware. It's an 04 bisque, so it's going to work on either one. I always start from the background and work up. So we're going to do the background in the center. And I think if I leave that laying there, you can see that. Don't forget, I've updated this and I found a couple of errors. There's a PDF on my blog, or you can just search Grapevine Heart. It'll come up. But I missed 2 colors, and then I missed on the first page mixing them with the gloss medium. So this is the PDF that you can download. It's got your pattern and everything. What you do is you take a piece of cheap tissue paper, lay it over your pattern, trace it off with a pencil, and then take that and transfer to your wear. If I'm on stoneware or on greenware, I like to use an ultra fine point Sharpie marker, okay? If I'm on ceramic or earthenware bisque, I use the Statler Tri-Plus fine liners. It's a water-based marker, because if you trap a marker between glaze and the wear, sometimes it'll burn off, but it also can repel your color. Okay, so be cautious on that. And a lot of my tutorials, I talk about that. So be sure and download that PDF. Great information on there for you, and the pattern. Okay, and since I don't have my other stuff, the website is colorsforearth.com, and there is my emails and phone number if you need those, if you're not familiar with me. Okay, so what I've got to start with, I'm using LE, and I know that's confusing because CC, or color concentrates, is what all of them are called except for this last one in the this particular line, the translucent underglazes. This was a limited edition. That's what LE stands for. We didn't know if we would have the materials to make it at the time, but we have been able to make it even after I purchased the company back in 2006. So we had a pink and a purple, but we don't have those anymore because they had gold in them. So too expensive. So we're going to use LE003. We're going to use CC151 cerulean blue, and we're going to use CC152 deep cerulean. These are all translucent or transparent underglazes. Okay, they come in a 1 ounce size, a 2 ounce, and then it jumps up to pint. And then we have kits, and I'll talk about those at the end. Okay, and Jess will let me know if there is any questions as we go along. I am going to mix, and I had someone just ask me on Facebook, when do you know when to mix the medium? So the CSP01 gloss medium is my NT clear, non-toxic clear, that I use on earthenware. The only way you can use it on B-Mix or your stoneware, your porcelain, is what I call spot glazing. You've mixed it with a color and you're just doing decorative work. You're not using it as a cover-all over the whole thing. So hopefully that makes sense. So do you need it? No, you don't have to have it. I like it because in the tool world, the word medium is an extender. It allows open time, allows you to manipulate and move the color around. And that's the way I use it because I come from that marketplace. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put equal parts of the gloss medium into the color. I like to take the handle of my brush to mix with, okay, because then you don't waste as much product. You'll just get those mixed up, because if you mix it with the hairs of the brush, you're going to have to rinse the brush out to do the next one, and then you just wasted it. So hopefully that, I don't want you to waste your product. It's not expensive, but you know, every penny counts. Okay. All right. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take some water in another well. So I'm going to do 3 different ones for each one, because I'm going to create a wash. You always start with water, add the color to the water. Just remember the color is heavier than the water, so it's going to fall to the bottom. And I am going to zoom in just a little bit here so you can see this better. Okay, so I'm going to take my medium sumi brush. These are brushes that I designed, it's probably been 30 years ago now, and mix it into there. And I'm going to do another scoop and mix it in. And you can't see that. All right, so let's move that. Okay, so I'm mixing it up, and then I'm taking some of it off. So what I do is my slip, slap, mush, mush. So I'm just going to kind of bounce around and add this to the background. I don't care if it gets on my leaves because they're green anyway, but if it gets on the petals, then I may take some care and go back and take that off. Okay, so hopefully just that answers the question why and when you would use the medium. It's just to manipulate and be able, but Jessica doesn't use it, and she does watercolor backgrounds all the time. So I think for a beginner is where it's going to make a difference, because it allows a little more open time and allows you to manipulate and move it. If you don't move fast, there's some people that paint fast, and so they don't.
Yeah, and I think it's handy because what I end up doing to have it, the clay stay more open, is I get the whole thing wet when I do Mishima, because I already have an inlay of fired underglaze, but you cannot get that wet. What you're doing, you would want, if I was doing what you're doing right now, the technique, I would want the medium. Okay. Because usually I use water to wet the surface so that the clay is already a little saturated so it doesn't absorb so quickly. So what you're doing is you're preventing that step, which I think is brilliant.
It's just something that I've done ever since it's a long time, 30 years I've been doing it. I took painting lessons way back when, and I wanted to be able to know how to do that, and then how can I convert it into the ceramic market, and this is what I come up with, and the brushes at the time. I'm just going to grab the stubby brush. I've dampened it with water, so because the medium is in it, and I've got water over here, I can push that off if I don't want it on that area, so it's staying open. Yes, it absorbs into the clay, but it's just sitting on the surface at the moment. So you can go back and manipulate and move it. And so that's another benefit. Now, you could scratch it off, but then you got dust on your wear. So I don't know that, I would do that. Just keep wiping that brush out so that you're removing the color that you're wanting and not just moving it along in the area. Okay, so you can see how easy that is to do. So I'll just pretend that I don't want it on that leaf and take it off. Not that it's going to make any difference, because like I said, it's got green on it. Okay. All right. So then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little bit of that back in my brush. I'm going to grab the 151 cerulean mix, a healthy scoop, I call it. Okay. And I'm going to go over to another well of water, and I'm going to take it all off my brush, make sure it's mixed in good. And then I'm going to start with it, and I'm going to overlap those 2 colors. If for some reason you don't get enough, if you can't see it, just add more color. But just make sure you mix up enough to do the area that you're trying to work in, because trying to get the same mix is not always the easiest thing to do. Turn your work, keep stirring that, make sure you get to the bottom of your paint well, or you may have it in a little cup. I mean, there's different, ways to do that. So I'm just kind of tucking some of it in. So this color is going to go all the way over to the edge, and then we're going to add the deep cerulean on top of it. So this is just a fun way, and I just love this design. Actually, I bought a shirt with this on it, and I was like, I got to paint that.
I love it.
That's why I thought I would give it to you guys free, because it's not, I mean, I drew the pattern out, but it is a Yeah, one of those. So swish off. I'm just taking the Sumi brush and pushing off. I'm not used to just seeing the small screen, so it takes me a minute to make sure I'm on camera. You know, you have all those little things, and when you don't have them, you don't realize. So see, I'm just pushing that off the petals. Okay. If I thought this wasn't dark enough, I can go back over that and add again, but change and make sure you overlap. Okay. Change the direction of your brush. Okay. Because if you keep going like this, you're going to get a pattern, or what I call rabbit tracks, and you're going to see it. Now, can you remove them? Yes, you can go back with just water in your brush. So if I rinse my brush and I just have a damp brush, I can go back and soften that. Absolutely. There again, that's where your medium comes in handy and allows you to manipulate and move that around. Okay. All right, let me get a little bit more over here. All right, so then I'm going to take the deep cerulean. Now this color is really, really dark. You don't need a lot of it. Okay, so that was about a half of a scoop. If we need more, we can add another coat. Remember, with any of your products, I don't care if it's an underglaze, opaque, translucent glaze, multiple thin coats are always better than one thick, heavy coat. Because when you put it on thick, you have a chance of it popping or cracking. And I'm going to add just a little bit more color into my wash. Wasn't as dark as I wanted. So basically you're creating an ombre effect going across. Okay, so you've got 3 different colors that you can see there. And do you see how that's got a dark area? Because that's where I stopped. So I've just got still product in my brush, and I'm just going back and adding a little bit more. Kind of get it. You can take a smaller brush too and get into the smaller spaces if you need to.
Paula, how many color concentrates do you have? How many different colors are there?
41 colors. And they come
41.
Yeah. And they come in 1 ounce, 2 ounce, and pints. We have a lot of people that buy like white and black in the pints. Then we have the color strokes, which I introduced to you guys last year on one of these. And I can show you those kits later. They're behind me. There's 62 of those colors, and then there's a spec base. So if you're working on a speckled clay, yeah, I'm going to find it. I got it right here. If you're working on a speckled clay, you're going to have the specks come through because these are translucent, right? But if you're not, let's say you're working on porcelain, but you want a speck in a apple, an orange, a banana, whatever. So this Color Stroke CS 699 spec base, it's not to be used by itself. It's only to be used mixed with color. Okay, so you can mix it in any light color. It's not going to show up in black. It's not going to show up in a navy blue, you know, those, but I've used it with red, yellows, greens, used it for leaves, ladybugs, all different kinds of things. So this has an opacifier in it. So meaning it makes things more opaque. So you would just mix, I mix equal parts and apply it the same way I would anything else. Okay, so that's kind of a cool thing. And you can mix that with the concentrates or with the color strokes, either one. So that's a fun addition. And I know here lately, I must have showed it or something, but or talked about it because we've had a lot of people been ordering it, even by the 8 ounce in the pints. The color strokes come in this bottle, and they come in 2, 8, and 16 or a pint. And a lot of people have been ordering that because they're like, oh, I want to add it. Now the specs get a little bit bigger when they're on cone 5, cone 6 versus on earthenware. That's mainly the only difference in it. Okay, I'm going to quit messing with it because I have a spot here that I don't like because I've kept piddling, so I'm going to let it dry and then I can come back. Okay. One of the other things is I just saw a hair. Rub the hairs out. Yes, they will fire out, but if there's nothing underneath it, okay, the hair burns out and you got a white line where that hair was. Okay, just FYI. It's more so on the greenware that happens, but just so that you know what that is and how to fix it. Okay. All right. So that's all we're going to do with those colors. So then we're going to move on and do the flower. Okay. So I'm going to use 131 Cabernet and 132 Deep Cranberry. And if you only have the color strokes, let's say you bought those and you didn't buy the concentrates, the last two digits, and I can show you here with the white. So like here's color stroke white and it's 602. Concentrate is 102. Same pigment, just a different base, translucent, opaque. So you could convert any of my patterns over like that. Just look at the last two digits. Okay. That's kind of fun. It can be overwhelming, but it is kind of fun to be able to do. And it works with our, well, if you're on earthenware, it works with our glazes and everything. All the last two digits of every product series that we have, the same number, 101, 601, 501 is our gloss black glaze because 101 is black. So it goes through. I need to do that maybe on a live. Okay. So now I'm going to switch to, I get to talking and then I stop. Okay. I'm going to switch to the small Sumi. I feel like I'm in hyper mode here because of everything that happened the other day. I'm going to also mix the gloss medium with these two colors. And why am I doing that? So that I have more open time. I can manipulate and blend. We're going to do a 2-color blend on the flower petals. And I won't have time to completely finish this, so I'm going to kind of work on one side and you get the idea. I mean, the pink flowers, the blue flowers, the yellow, they're all done the same way. You put the light color on the outside, dark towards the center. So we're going to start with that pink one. So I'm going to pick up with the small Sumi brush, fully load that brush. Think of it as you're shampooing the brush, and I'm going to pat that color in out on the tip of that petal. So the light color on the outside, your shadow would be near your center. So I'm going to turn the piece. This is key when you're using the Sumi brushes or any brush. And I'm going to pick up the deep cranberry on the tip and I'm going to tuck it in. So that's one of my words. Tuck it in, sit it down, mush, 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 walk it to the right, walk it to the left. So do you see I've done that about 3 to 4 times. So technically I have probably applied 2 full coats there, not just 1 coat, because I keep messing with it until that looks blended. Okay, so it's got a nice soft graduation down to the dark color. So I'm going to just wipe out the dark on the tip of my brush on my paper towel. You could use a sponge, grab the light color again. And if this brush is too, depending on the size of the pattern, you can always resize it. You try to use the largest brush possible and you'll get the smoothest and not as many lines. Okay. Now I'm going to pick up the deep cranberry again. I'm going to tuck that where the shadow would be, which is up next to the center. Sit it down, mush, 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 walk it to the right, walk it to the left. So I'm going to turn sideways here. So you see that that brush is all the way down almost. So that the dark colors on the tip, it bleeds back into the light color. Okay. And when you have both colors on your brush like this, it's an easier way so you don't, because sometimes people will come in and they do it all light and they try to put dark and then they start lifting their light color off, meaning they're removing some of the color. If you put that base color or your lightest in your brush and then tip in the dark, you won't have that problem. Okay. Oops, I just about tipped into the dark before I added the light. So I'm just going to do this mauve or pink flower is what I'm going to do for you guys today.
And I shared the link to your Colors for Earth website in the chat. And if you go there, everyone, and you click on the blog and you scroll down to ceramic techniques, you will see the PDF for this Grapevine Heart. You can just click on that and print it out. Now, the broadcast you did for just our premium members that you did just the other night, the little bird one, that is up on clayshareprime.com. So it's only for premium members of Clayshare. So you'll get your PDF there. So the one for right now.
Is it on day ones? Because I can't find it. That's why I'm asking. I had people asking me.
If you go to documents on clayshareprime.com, it's right there.
Okay.
It's on the so it should be.
And I had a mistake on the paperwork and I re-uploaded it on the Prime group. And I fixed it on my page. I was going to do, but with equipment problems, live the other night because we've made some changes to the website and I was going to walk people through it. The blog is one, which is great now. The pictures are there. It's easy to find things. turn your piece around. I'm grabbing the deep cranberry. The other thing is when you're looking at products, we have infinity scroll, so you don't have to go page to page to page anymore. So there's a lot of new features. I'll probably go live after this is over and explain a lot of that. So, but yeah, everything's on the blog for this one, and then tonight I'll get the one tomorrow. Yeah, but the other one is just your Prime members. Okay, so see, this one is a tiny, so I can switch to the mini Sumi. We have, real quick, there's a 4-piece set, okay, the Sumi brushes, and you get your discount on everything. You've got a regular, just the ClayShare discount. If you're a Prime member, you need to go get that Prime code and use it because you get a better deal.
That's right. Premium members, you get that extra deal. So you've got to, that's your perk. There's your little member perk. So that's awesome. We had a question. So the unfired version versus the fired version, how close do the colors look to each other? So someone had said they did some and they thought it was dark enough, they fired it and it was lighter than they thought. So
one of the little tricks to knowing if it's dark enough, just get you a fine mist bottle, okay? And I'm going to mist this and then show you side by side. So you can mist it and see what it's actually going to get closer to. So it's not too much. It's going to brighten. It should brighten up. But if you mist it, you'll be able to see, oh, you know what? I was really light on that. I need to add more. And so that's a little trick that I tell people on the phone all the time. So that's just fun. And you can do that with any product. I learned that when I was working for Hobby Color Rowie at the time. That was 20 years ago. And I don't remember who told me, but I did not come up with that. Somebody else did. Okay, so just switch brushes if you get smaller areas, okay? Sit it down, mush, 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 walk it back and forth until you have a nice blend, which you're going to be applying more than the one coat when you do that. So do they understand that these are translucent underglazes versus opaque underglazes?
Yeah, why don't you talk a bit about the difference so that for the folks I know, but I think there's a lot of people out there who might be new. I know a lot of our ClayShare folks know, but.
See those? I can back off just a little bit. Hold on. So translucent 41, 62 of the opaque. So when I say opaque, so like if you had a rim on a plate that you wanted black or you wanted dark blue, you could put 3 coats of this on there and it would be great. The only precaution that you need to worry about is these have a touch of glaze. They have that designer glaze medium in them to make them opaque. So don't ever put them on surfaces where you've got canisters that are going to touch, which I think everybody, as far as mid-range clay, understand, you know, you don't want things sticking together, but this does have some glaze in it. These do not. But at the higher temperatures, they can gloss. You can, if you were super, super heavy. The one thing that's happened recently is a lot of people are using 139, 140, 43 that are really dark blues. And they're saying they're only putting 1 coat on and they put the clear glaze over it and it's what I call blistering. It's rough. So you're too heavy. Thin it down a little bit. Remember, keyword, concentrate. They are concentrated. Okay. That's our key. And then here real quick, since we're talking about the color stroke, this is the color stroke kit. I don't know if you want to put a link to that. If you just type ClayShare, it should pop up in the search. But that is some colors because the pinks and purples hold a little better as far as that one goes. Okay. All right. So I'm going to get out 2 greens. I'm going to use 161 green leaf and 164 pine. You could use 162 laurel if you wanted. I just wanted, I get stuck in a rut and I use the same thing and I need to use different colors. So I did this time. Okay. And once again, you're going to add your medium to it. And the reason I'm adding that is because I want to be able to do that 2-color blend, manipulate, and move it around. Keep it open longer. Also, there's been some people, and I just had one this morning. We have what we call a hobby kit and an artist kit. Those have earthenware products in it. If you are cone 5, cone 6 only, you do not want to buy that kit. Just go buy the color concentrate kits by yourself, okay? But I've caught most of them, and I'm able to, email the person and say, hey, did you really mean to do this? And they're like, oh no. And I'm like, okay, I'll get you some product, but not, you don't, because it has our piping and
Yeah,
our
it has
low-fire
things for low
glazes.
fire. Right, right.
Yeah,
It has
yeah.
things that are really, really
You don't want to
geared
use
towards
them.
low fire, and you won't use them if you do cone 5-6.
Correct. So
Yeah,
stay
we have
away.
the clay share kit that we've just shared, so that's in the chat too. And
Okay.
remember, premium members, you have that discount, that extra
Yeah.
bonus.
And that was the other thing. When you're at the checkout, you've got your product on one side of your cart, and then at the bottom of the right-hand side menu, it says have a coupon. Make sure before you hit that checkout button that you enter that coupon code. Okay. And are you going to share the coupon code just for the normal clay share?
Yes,
Okay.
we will. For the regular code, we will share. So, and just a reminder to everybody, if you go to claysharecon.com and under conference deals and promos, this is for the public, you can see all of the deals that we have. And so right now, Colors for Earth, 15% off if you use the code 2024 ClayShareCon, all capitals. And that gets you your 15% off. Premium members, you got a little extra better. And that was
shipping. Yeah, it will help on
a little bump, a little bit extra. So we got that there.
Okay, so I grabbed my mini sumi and I'm using the green leaf out on the tip of the leaves where it's lighter and patting that color in. And I go across it a couple of times. So I'm really getting 2 coats just because I want it to be even in coverage. And then I just tipped in the 164. Remember, your pattern is a guide. Doesn't mean that you have to stay inside the lines. We're not in school anymore. So I usually paint larger than my pattern all the time. I wipe out that dark color on a sponge or a paper towel and go into the light again and do another one. How much time, Jess? I need to know whether I need to move.
See, we got 15 minutes. You're doing good.
Oh, no, we got a lot.
You're like, no. You're like, no. I'm like, it looks great to me.
Okay, so does everybody understand the leaves? Basically, it's the same thing as the petals. We learn by repetition. And so a lot of my designs and techniques and packets that I do are just that, because if you keep doing it over and over, you will get it. Okay. And a lot of times, if you're first starting, do a scrap, start on the back, put you a little leaf or something and practice if you're unsure about it. Okay. All right. So then the next thing that we need to do is we're going to grab the stubby brush. The stubby brush is a mongoose hair brush. It's a filbert, meaning it has, or a cat's tongue, people call them, it has a rounded top. Okay. And I'm going to bring out some of the yellows. I'm going to swap out my palette. This is 123 sunflowers and 125 curry.
So if someone wanted to get a sampler kit of the color concentrates, would you recommend the color concentrate sampler kit?
The sampler has the glaze in it. Yeah. And I didn't bring one of those in here, but yeah, that would be perfect. The number 1 is probably the most popular kit, but I didn't put a yellow in it. I don't know why when I made this up for somebody else. So you can add a yellow, you can add the gloss medium as a separate item also, if you want, or any other colors. So some people will buy a kit and then they're like, well, I really am a blue person. I want more of this. So, okay, so I added the medium to that because I want to make sure I get you to show you the grapevine. And with that stubby brush, I'm going to pick up the yellow and then I'm going to tap it out on the palette. See that? And what you do is you give it a bad hair day, I call it, so that when you stipple that on, you're getting little tiny dots of color and you get highs and lows, or some darker, some lighter areas. Then I'm going to grab the 25 and do the same thing, 125 curry. And you know what? I think I typed that wrong on the sheet. I think I put yellow ochre, but I put 125. I'll go back and update that. Sorry, guys. It's been a nightmare.
It's okay. I know. But this is going great. This looks great.
Even if I don't like my background, right?
I think it looks great.
Anyway, okay, so we do that. Then what we're going to do is that's all we need that one for. Go back to our greens. I have people trying to call me. It's like, go away. So on the grapevine itself, take some of that green, thin it slightly with some water. This is the green leaf 161. And I'm using my writings off my brush because I use it so much. This is the 3600 number 2 liner. I use it for everything to detail. And what you're going to do is just, I'll turn it so you can kind of see, is on the tippy toe of the brush, just do kind of figure 8s and S's and pull that down. You're going to come back and add a stem and calyx to the buds. I'll show you that. So you're just taking it, and I'm going to put brown in here also, and I'm going to put some here just so you can kind of see what it looks like. So just try not to make it look too patterned, you know, be organic about it, I guess you could say. All right, so these are translucent. They're just going to overlap onto one another. So where they overlap, they're going to be a little bit darker. I know I heard some of the other broadcasts. I have not personally tried these to a cone 10, just in case anybody I would say the pink sample might have a issue with that, but I've not had anybody do it and tell me the results. So if anybody does, please share that with the rest of the community. Okay, so you do that all the way around. All right, and then we're going to come back in and we're going to put some brown in there. Oh, before I do that though, take and pull some of these wispy lines. So let's just say that I want, it's like little sprigs, you know, little hairy lines, so to speak. So, that sounds terrible, doesn't it?
It sounds so funny. Hairy lines. Yes.
So just kind of bring some both directions. Make it interesting. Don't leave it kind of boring. Usually pull your strokes towards you is better for a beginner because you have more control over it. So don't do what I'm doing. As a teacher, you have to be able to go both ways because you have left-handed people sometimes. All right. Okay. I do want to tell them that I do have a YouTube channel that I have a lot of videos. There's playlist. I don't know if you guys know about playlist, but I think Jess has them on hers where you have ClayShare under a playlist.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah. And I share all the ones you've done with us. I have up there too. So
right, and I'll put the link on the blog to yours once it's up. I went to look for it, like maybe you had it as a set up as a broadcast, but you didn't. So I will go back and link it to my blog page so they know where to find it. Okay, so do some of those, and then you want to do some brown ones also. And then you can detail with black on top of that. I'm not going to add the medium to the brown, the 186. This is probably the only color ever in 20 years, because I bought it in 2006. So yeah, it would have been around 2000. This color, if it dries out and you see it cracking on the surface, all you got to do is add some of that gloss medium in the bottle, cover the top of whatever's there, let it absorb, and you're golden. You're good. It's just what it's made out of, it tends to dry out quicker. So that's the only one that per se would have a shelf life, but you can extend it by just adding that medium. Okay. Because I know we've had people. I had a teacher that bought a kit and she didn't even use it for 10 years. She never opened it.
Oh my goodness.
And she was young, having a family and everything. And then when she shot me at the next show, she said, "Is my stuff still good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's good." And she opened it up, and sure enough, it was only this brown is the only one that she had a problem with. So, okay, so just add some of those lines. You can also add some coming out with your little hairy lines. When I do flowers with them in the center, I call them hairy protrusions. That was kind of, everybody had fun with that. Okay, so you do that. You're going to go back and add black also, but that gives you the gist of what you're trying to do. Okay, so then you have calyx. The calyx are like on the bud, and I've got one here. So I'm going to use the liner brush. I'm going to grab both greens, the 61 and the 64. And again, I like to pull my strokes towards me, and I'm just going to do a press pull and lift it off. And you've got 3 little guys, and then just work that into your grapevine somehow. Okay. All right. So then I had all of these little lines out here. So you can do thicker, and then you can add like almost like little ferny type strokes. They're little pressure strokes. And yeah. Oh, there it is. I was going to show you on paper so that you could understand. So take the 164, get it on your liner. So if you've got one of those hairy lines coming out, okay, you can come in and just do a sit, and I'm going backwards, of course. Just sit and lift is what it is. It's not reacting to that paper very well. Remind me at the end just to show them the color wheels of the concentrate. Okay, so let's grab one out here where you can actually see it. So you can tip and then press. Okay, so tip and press. So you just make little tiny, it's like itty bitty leaves is what that is. Whoops, I think I might have been off camera a little bit. Okay, so at the end, so press and lift, press and lift. I need more product. So make sure when you're trying to do these that you keep that brush full, because otherwise it's hard to make that pressure stroke. It just doesn't work as well. And I'm hurrying. Okay, but that's kind of fun just to give. Then you can slightly thin some of that 164 down. And then this is where I kind of pulled in more like little ribbony type strokes. So I'm going to press and lift off. So press and lift off. See how it's just a thicker outline? I'm trying not to get one on something that I haven't done. That's the problem. So press and lift. So just vary things so that it makes it more interesting that you see those strokes. Isn't that fun? You can just add in whatever color you want. It's just a neat way to give it a little more character. Okay. Then you would just come in with your black and you would detail. Okay. How much time, Jess?
You have got
almost out.
7 minutes,
Okay.
6 minutes.
So you can add a little bit of brown onto the centers on the lower side, and I'm using the stubby brush to do that. And I use the same liner brush with the black to do the detail. So load the liner, pull it in. So I'm loading all the hairs. I'm turning the brush over, pulling, pulling, pulling. That's coating that hair. It's like adding shampoo onto your brush or your hair. Okay. So stay on the tippy toes. And then I do just a little skip. And then I pull in tiny fine lines. So I'm barely touching the surface. Okay. And then a leaf would be the same way. It's kind of a hit and miss. You can also do this with the green first on your leaves as a practice run, I call it. Okay. So you can kind of see, I'll do one more petal. And I used to try to be perfect and get on exactly what I had there. It's so much easier not to be perfect, because then if you mess up, you don't have to worry about it. They're all the same way, right? You could even add, I didn't add any dots at the tips of these, but you could. And then around the center, you would just kind of create a wavy line. And then you can add some extra dots with the tip of your brush. You can also use the RD66, the wipeout tool we sell. That is a nice one to do any kind of dotting with. Okay, I think I covered. So the colors are you just change them up. I'll just use the 2 yellows on the yellow one. 2 blues are 151 and 152. And like I said, all of that is on the pattern and the step out that I gave you. I didn't give you written instructions. I just gave you the photos because I figured you had the video and you could kind of see how to accomplish that. Okay. All right. Any questions, Jess, before I...
People are saying your products are easy and beautiful to work with, and that they it's so easy on bisques to see how light or dark you're layering. So it's easy, you know, you might need to build up if you want more intensity, but you can actually see the layers you're putting on because of the transparent quality. The clay is not, you know, there's no clay in there blocking up the color. So it makes it
just misted
makes
that
it great.
so you could kind of see. So
yeah,
this becomes a little more translucent. It's fairly close. It's going to brighten and intensify some, but for the most part, it's exactly what you see. So use the mister and do that because that's a huge, it'll tell you what you get. So that color stroke kit is this size, the 2-ounce size, and it has the 12 colors in it. It was just a little sampling. And then we've got, you know, the color concentrate kits, which if you buy the big one, there is the 41 colors that come in it. We have the kit number 1. We have kit number 2 and kit number 3. We also, for the low fire users that are on here, and you could probably use them on the mid-range too, we have crystals. There's 3 that are not on here. I didn't redo a flyer yet, but those are kind of fun to add things. And then we have some lava stones, which are a textured. I'm probably going to discontinue those because they haven't been good sellers. Here's your color concentrate. And I have a blog. You might want to see if you can find it, Jess, and post it. I have a blog with the color wheel that you can actually print out the pattern to do this. So I've got 1, 2, and 3 coats. If you just put color wheel in the search, you'll find it. So that's what this shows. This is 0406, so earthenware. Here is your mid-range. This is Mako, again, Mako stoneware. I love working on it. It's wonderful. But
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Can you see the 25 and the 40? This is what I call blistering. So too heavy with the stroke. Okay. It needs more glaze. You can put more glaze over it and refire it and it's fine. But that's what you're getting. Some people, and where I've overlapped on some of those darker colors, you can see that. But same thing. Like, I mean, the pinks are fairly close on the Mako. It's nice. I know they fade. I think Jessica thins her product down way more than what I do.
I do. I really add a lot of water. Yeah, I do. Yeah. But I also like to put a ton of layers. I mean, I'll do 8 or so layers sometimes. But that's only because I started with underglaze and I had clay and I had to account for that. So my process is really skewed because of that. And maybe over time I'll do less, but I don't know. Right now, that's what I'm doing. So, because sometimes I still use speedball underglaze, you know, and so I have to keep my technique so that
Jessica's going to work on not putting her brush in her bottles too, aren't you?
I am. If you remind me, if you come in here and like wrap me on the wrist like that. Oh, I do it. I'm so bad. But you know what? If I was using your beautiful brushes, I would never do that. But when I'm using like $2 Sumi brushes, they just get
I'm worried about you contaminating your color.
Oh, I know. I know. I'm so bad. I do that too.
About it.
I know. Well,
are we going to give away a prize?
We're going to do it tonight.
Yeah, we're doing it tonight.
Yeah, we're going to do it tonight in the giveaways. We are going to give away Kev, what are we going to give away tonight? He's looking it up. The color concentrate sample kit is going to be tonight. And there's the 15% off with the code 2024 ClayShareCon, all caps. Premium members, you got 20% off, but you got to use your code. I shared that in Prime. And premium members, we will do an email just to you with the code on there. So you have that along with the PDF for the Bluebird of Paula's. And I might do a quick broadcast.
I put that on Prime.
And I saw that on there. So anyway, I shared it. We put it up in documents too. So, but good. I might do a broadcast.
I'm still not really good at how all that works. So I figured
it's the only way for us to really share documents only to premium members. Like we had to come up with a way, and it works. Awesome. But we're talking with another company about doing one umbrella situation, but we don't want to let the cat out of the bag. So we got to wait. So, all right. Well, thank you. Anything you want to leave us with before we head off?
Other than the code is good until March 4th.
March 4th. Okay. Code's good till March 4th. All right, Paula, thank you for another awesome demo. Right. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Yes?
Tomorrow morning. Yeah.
All right. We'll see Paula tomorrow morning. Thank you, everybody, for being here
with us. Now, to enter all of our giveaways, you just go to clayshare.com and you sign up for our emails. You only have to sign up once, and you're entered in all the giveaways. Some are international, some are U.S. only. The company set that. We have no control over that part of it, and we can't really change it. They set the rules, and I know some people are international, and they're like, well, why can't I pay for shipping? Well, it just doesn't work that way. If you pay for shipping, you're purchasing the product. It's not a giveaway, and then the company's got to file taxes differently, and it just makes a big mess, and then they start saying no to giveaways to me, and I don't want to do that. So, but we give away prizes at ClayShare, and we ship them all over the world. So all of the prizes ClayShare sponsors, which is the rolling pins and membership, you can get that no matter where in the world you are. If you're in Antarctica, I'm going to send it to you, so don't worry about it. All right, so we're going to take a quick little break, and I'll be back in a few minutes. We'll be back at 2:30. No, we'll be back at 3:45 with Diamond Core Tools again. Ooh, Nikolai's coming back. We're going to be doing extruded handle forms. So extrusions and handled forms coming up.